Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. So on page number 44, part 9, take care of your health. Which is very interesting because, like we were just talking about before the lesson started, how ironic it is that, we stopped on this chapter right when me and my family ended up getting sick because of all the bad food that we were eating. And this is very, very important. And this is something that we should all take seriously. Because, the bottom line is, akhi, if you don't have health, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? If you're constantly you're healthy for 2-3 days and then you're sick for 1-2 days and then you're healthy for 5 days and you're sick for 3 days. Akhi, you can't be consistent if you're not healthy. That's just the bottom line. So consistency, we always talk about that consistency, and that consistency relies on a person being healthy. If you're not healthy, then you could kiss consistency goodbye. All right, so take care of your health. The one thing that caused me a lot of problems and still causes me a lot of problems during my time studying was health issues. Of course, the health issues that we had in Damaj were not health issues because of Ben & Jerry's or because of chocolate or because of junk food. It was just the uncleanliness of the food. And so we were constantly getting sick because we didn't have a lot of food. We didn't have those types of enjoyments, but the dirtiness and the dirtiness of the restaurants and the food and the people touching the food and they never wash their hands after they go to the bathroom, that will keep you sick a lot of the time. So when I began eating healthier and staying away from foods I knew my body rejected, my memory got stronger and my ability to focus got stronger. And of course, when I say that foods that I noticed that my body rejected, of course, this is after reading and studying a lot of books on Arab medicine and natural medicine, and then I started noticing the different foods that are good for different times of the year. And then I noticed that, when I started paying attention to it, then I started noticing when I ate certain foods that my body reacted to certain ways. Even to this day, green peppers, game over. Ice cream, any type of dairy products. If I eat them for 2 or 3 days in a row, it's over. It's over. I could be out for a week or two. I'll be in bed for a week, just for eating dairy for 3 days in a row. So, you have to start to notice this. You have to look at the foods that give you energy and the foods that just destroy your health. You cannot achieve much while you are sick in bed. This is reality. You achieve the most when your blood is pure and flowing through your body without any blockage. When you have energy is when you find the most ease in memorizing. If you are constantly eating foods that are zapping you of your energy, you will never get much done. Our problem in Damaj was a lack of food due to lack of money. We tried to fit as much nutrition into the little amount of food that we ate throughout the day based on what we could afford. We ate a lot of rice, a lot of beans, and a lot of bread. Not the best diets if you need energy throughout the day. And that was the first couple of years. But then later on, me and some of the brothers, we started sending people to Sada once we got to know things. And then we started buying whole grains, natural, whole grain oats, and then grinding it up and making oatmeal, pure oatmeal out of that every morning. And then that's how we started eating. And then that's when our health started getting a lot better. We stopped eating the food that was given from the masjid. Because all the food from the masjid was just beans, rice, bread. Beans in the morning with bread, rice and lunch, and beans and bread at night. So when dealing with foods, you want to stay away from the following items. And of course, this is going to sound like a health commercial. Highly processed foods. That knocks out 90% of the American diet right there, right? Highly processed food, because everything, cheese. The cheese that the people eat here is not even cheese. What is it called? It's cheese product. It's plastic. So once you start to wake up to this, it's not even legal for them, for the Kraft and the Velveeta to put cheese on it. They put cheese product because it's a bit of cheese mixed with a whole bunch of other poisons. So you stop eating that, definitely. All the highly processed foods, the milk.
Red onion.
Huh?
Red onion.
Yeah, restaurants. 90% of the diet is gone just with that first statement. Everything else even falls under that same category. White sugar, obviously, because it's bleached and it's not in its natural state. White flour. It's the thing that I used to joke about with the Yemenis. I said, if you want to live your life comfortable, you need to stay away from 3 white things. White flour, white sugar, and white women. and said, if you stay away from those 3 white things, then inshallah you'll live your life happy. But if you fall into one of those 3 things, or all 3 of those things, your life will be destroyed. And nothing against white women, but white American women, I mean specifically Western women. No, you marry Becky and Elizabeth, you're going to have to, especially as a Muslim, boy, you might as well give it up, boy. Come in the house and she's listening to Justin Bieber or something like that. He doesn't know who that is, I think. Do you know? Huh? No. But you don't know who he is. No, he is. Hello. But you listen to his music. I'll kick you out the house. When you sleep with the cats.
He got jumped a couple years back.
All right, so black coffee in large amounts. And notice that I said in large amounts because, black coffee anyways is probably one of the most sprayed chemically, like out of all the drinks that you can drink, like they put the most chemicals. They spray with the most chemicals, the black coffee. So unless you're drinking like coffee that's really highly organic or from an organic source, then you can kiss that goodbye, man. That black coffee is horrible. So you need to be drinking some very, very good and clean coffee. Otherwise, as far as like tea, coffee, it's better to drink tea. Coffee is sprayed so badly. Excessive meat consumption, especially in the time of hot weather. And Ibn al-Qayyim, he spoke about that in Zad al-Ma'ad on the chapter on the book of Tib al-Nabawi. He mentioned that in there. And you shouldn't be eating a lot of meat in the summertime. Like meat should mostly be consumed in the wintertime when it's cold, but not when it's heat. Not when it's hot, because if you eat too much meat in the heat, it sits in the body and it becomes putrid. Have you ever left meat out when it's hot? Oh. And you see how fast it starts to go rotten and start developing maggots and stuff like that? So imagine that just sitting in your stomach, sitting in your gut, and that heat. So it's in the times of like extreme heat, like right now, it's like 100+ degrees. I won't be eating meat. Save the meat for later. All right, regular consumption of highly acidic foods. All right, because the foods are 2 types. You have acidic, well, actually 3 types. You have acidic, you have alkaline, and you have just neutral. So, you want to eat more of the neutral. You still have, you have to eat some acidic foods to balance, because there has to be a balance. If you eat too many alkaline foods, then what happens is you get to the high alkalinity in your body, and it starts to cause you other problems. There has to be a pH balance in your body. So, you look at like for example, like green tea. Green tea is neutral. Coffee is acidic. White sugar, acidic. White flour, acidic. Milk, acidic. So let's look at the general American diet. All right, white flour, white sugar, cheese, milk, coffee. The most highly acidic foods. And of course, the flour that they eat is wheat, which is the most acidic of all the grains. So now you have this basically comprises, and with meat, did I mention meat? Meat, okay, so you have meat too. And then on top of that, it's the way that they mix these types of foods, where they take meat and mix it with cheese. If you're going to eat meat, the thing that helps meat digest easily is what?
Acid?
No, my son?
No, acid.
Acid is my son.
No, acid. ACID.
I'm kidding him, huh? No, it's not with acid. It's with honey and ginger. Honey and ginger are 2 things that help meat digest. So if you eat, for example, like if you eat like a lot of meat today and you want to help that digest, then later on, either 1, you cook the meat with ginger, and then you can just eat the honey on its own, or 2, you can make later on, make a big cup of ginger tea, mix it with honey, like hot, and not steaming hot because you don't want to kill the benefits of the honey, but warm, like really, really warm. Ginger, mix it with honey and drink that later on to help the meat digest. But other than that, but you take a meat, like the cheeseburger. Look at this. They mix it with white bread, cheese, and then a whole bunch of other stuff, which is like khalas. It's so acidic and so impossible for the body to digest. Pizza, the dough, with the cheese, with the sauce, all acidic. There's no neutrality whatsoever. There's nothing there, unless you go and throw like some spinach on it or something like that, which is just like, that's like almost like making a mockery, Like I'm just gonna become healthy if I just throw a little sprig of spinach or something on it, or like arugula or whatever that stuff is, the jirjir. All right, but no, I mean, yeah. So the acidic foods, you have to, obviously beans, rice, and things that have certain levels of acidity, you're going to be eating oatmeal, but these are beneficial foods, but you balance it out. You have bananas, you have dates, you have honey, you have all of these things that fight against the acidity. All right, and balance out the body. And milk from the store, not from the cow. Obviously, if you're not drinking it straight from the cow, then it's garbage. This stuff that they sell in the stores is not milk, it's mucus in a bottle. All right, so some of these items, such as black coffee, might cause some of your eyebrows to rise. The truth is, I have never met a person that consumed black coffee regularly that memorized any big books of hadith. And I say black coffee, because I have met people that consumed Arabic coffee, like Yemeni coffee. Yeah, lots of students that memorize Bukhari, memorize Muslim, memorize Jamis, the Sahih Musnad, and all these different books, Riyadh al-Salihin, Bulugh al-Maram, and so on and so forth. Asharat, tens, dozens of brothers that memorize these books, and they drink Arabic coffee. Well, not this black coffee, not this coffee that they sell in the West.
How long do you think it would take someone to memorize the Muslim of Imam Ahmed?
The Musnad of Imam Ahmed?
Ibn Kathir.
With our stupidity, 2 lifetimes. 2 lifetimes. And as stupid as we are, 2 lifetimes. All right. So some of these items, such as black coffee, might cause some of your eyebrows to rise. The truth is, I have never met a person that consumed black coffee regularly that memorized any books, big books of hadith. I have never seen a person that went to Starbucks and memorized Sahih Bukhari. And wallahi, never. I've seen the opposite. I've seen people, students of knowledge, that go to Starbucks all the time that can't even memorize 40 hadiths of Imam Nawawi. So yeah.
I memorized it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've seen the opposite. I have seen the people that consume a lot of coffee always forgetting information. If you want a strong memory, drink decent quality green tea and ginger tea. And ginger tea, you shouldn't drink it every day. It thins the blood out too much. And if the blood gets too thin, that's gonna end up causing you harm. And drink it for a couple days and leave it, and drink it for a couple days and leave it.
What's y'all nana?
Nana is good.
Mm-hmm.
Mint, it's good for your stomach. Settles your stomach. It's very, very good. All right, and anything that cleans out the kidneys and settles your stomach is, alhamdulillah, you see that the energy will flow, inshallah. Meat and chicken are 2 foods you must consume in moderation. It is not good to consume either of the 2 to extremes, but meat is definitely the worst of the 2 when it comes to regular consumption. However, I would also warn against people becoming vegan or vegetarian. And this is batil, akhi. Well, if you're a Muslim and talking about you're a vegan, and unless you're doing it for something like the doctor told you to do it for health reasons, nah, that's batil, man. You follow the diet of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and you eat the way the Prophet ate. He ate everything in moderation. That's it, Kulu washrabu wala tusrifu. I mean, that's it. Eat and drink. All these things that Allah has made halal for you, but don't the israf, going to extremes and, having ice cream every once in a while. It's not going to destroy your health. But eating ice cream every day for 5 straight days will destroy your health. All right, having a pizza every once in a while is not going to kill you, inshallah. But having pizza every day is going to kill you. So, I mean, it's just like everything has to be in moderation, and you should be eating healthy foods. And this is advice to myself first, because I've gone way off the straight and narrow path in this regards, So Allah musta'an, but you should be just eating, like the vast majority of the time, healthy foods in small amounts. Healthy foods in small amounts, and then every once in a while you just go out and just enjoy yourself, But don't make the enjoying yourself the custom. All right, so meat and chicken are 2 foods you want to consume in moderation. It's not good to consume either of the 2 to extremes, but meat is definitely the worst of the 2 when it comes to regular consumption. However, I would also warn against people becoming vegan or vegetarian. These diets were not the way of the Salaf. The Salaf ate meat in moderation, so you should eat meat in moderation. No Muslim should run around proudly boasting that he or she is taking on the diet of the kuffar, when we know that the greatest of all mankind, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ate meat with his companions. Meat is more beneficial in the wintertime than it is in the summertime. If you live in a very hot and humid climate, you should limit your consumption of meat. And in fact, you should try not to eat meat at all during the summer, if you can avoid it. But if you do eat meat, eat it in very small amounts, and make sure that you drink some ginger with honey, inshallah, afterwards to help the digestion. I think the biggest culprit in the destruction of people's health in the West is processed food. We love fast food and we love the middle aisles of the supermarket. What will we be without donuts, honey buns, and ice cream? The answer is intelligent. A little joke from, a little author's joke, right? What will we be without donuts, honey buns, and ice cream, huh? Intelligence. SubhanAllah. All right, if you continue to eat this food on a regular basis, the word duh is going to be the most prominent word in your vocabulary. We will now have to warn against certain individuals because of the foods they eat. And then what I'm talking about here is that, you can't take from Fulan because he eats ice cream every day because it's making him stupid and he keeps forgetting all the information, Don't take hadith from John Doe because he eats donuts every day for breakfast, because now he's becoming stupid and he's forgetting everything because the donuts are messing up his memory a long time. Other foods that were considered good for the memory from the scholars of the past were ginger, raisins, and frankincense. Frankincense is the luban, and it's a little white like gum, and it's the people that use it for incense, but you can take it and you can chew it like gum, but it shouldn't be chewed. You shouldn't chew it every day. Again, it should be like done here and there, not every day. They say if you do it every day, it could cause. I've heard. I don't know what their evidence for this is, but they said it can cause leprosy. So that's that's a huge. So you don't want to mess around with that. So ginger should be drunk as tea. You can use the fresh root or the dried root. Now, the issue about the fresh root and the dry root is based on the disposition of the person. If the person is constantly getting sick with like a dry cough or like issues of dryness in the body, then that person should use the fresh root because the fresh root is moist and it puts moisture into the body. But if the person is suffering from too much buildup of mucus in the body due to too much moisture in the body, then by using the fresh ginger, the green ginger, it will cause the person to become more sicker. So that person should use the dry ginger. So it's based on your disposition. You need to know yourself. You need to know like what you are. So it's the same thing. If you're suffering from excess of moisture, and you got a mucus buildup in your body, which is causing like bronchitis or any type of sicknesses like this due to excess moisture, you shouldn't be eating bananas. You shouldn't be using fresh ginger. You should use dry ginger, and you should use things that start to dry up that mucus, dry it up, and not things that produce more moisture in the body. So that's what I'm about to talk about here. So it says, if you are a person that's constantly suffering from bronchial issues, you should use the dried root and not the fresh one. If you are a person that constantly suffers from dryness, for example, you constantly have a dry cough, you should drink the fresh root and not the dry one. If you eat raisins, you should make sure they are not dried using chemicals. I think they use like sulfur or something of that nature to dry them up quicker. If that's the case, then don't eat them. Raisins in Yemen were made by hanging grapes out on a rack for a period of time. They were completely natural and they were big. If you see the raisins in Yemen, they're like this. You see these little raisins here, they're small, but like the raisins in Yemen, they're huge because they're just hung up. And the grapes, they just dry out. So it's the size of the grape, but it's just like what? It's just shrunk now. That's the way the raisins should look. But these raisins here, they don't even look natural. All right, they were completely natural. When I consumed those raisins daily, my blood flowed like a wild river. I had to cut down on the raisins because they were giving me too much of the wrong energy. I wasn't married at the time. And I could not concentrate because all I was thinking about was women. So, you don't want to do that. As a young dude eating a bunch of those fresh raisins, no, you don't want to do that. That's a recipe for disaster in your life. So yeah, you see those types of effects, cut it out, or cut back on it. You don't need fitna. You want to be healthy, you don't want to be maftoon. All right, there's a fine line right there, and you can just cross that line very, very easily. All right, so I had to cut down on the raisins because they were giving me too much of the wrong energy and I could not concentrate. As far as the frankincense is concerned, I am referring to what the Arabs call luban. This can be chewed like gum. It is supposed to be good for the memory, and this is said by Ibn al-Jawzi and a lot of people of the past. All right, and it's something that scholars of the past have always advised students to use to strengthen their memories. However, you should not chew it every day because it can harm your body if you use it too much. Allah knows best. There are other herbs that have been promoted as herbs that strengthen the memory, like ginkgo biloba, but I have no experience with those herbs, so I cannot speak about them. I never used ginkgo biloba while I was studying, nor did I know anybody that did. My main secret for memory was always green tea. And that is what I relied on the most in Yemen. When I lived in Saudi Arabia, my primary source for a strong memory was Zamzam. Today it is green tea, and after green tea, I drink ginger tea. And that's if I drink either one of them, because most of the time I'm just, or nowadays I'm just drinking water. It's like, but yeah, that's a habit that we need to get back on. But like, it's better to get a better quality green tea, not the cheap stuff. Make sure that you get the leaves, the whole leaves, the leaves that when you put them in the bottom of the cup, and then it takes 5 minutes, and then they open up, and then the leaves they open up, and then they go to the bottom of the cup, and then you drink it with the leaves in the cup. Don't get these tea bags. You never ever use tea bags. Tea bags, all they do is they just put all the waste and all the crumbs that fell off the stuff. They take that and they put that in the tea bags and they sell it to you. That's garbage. So if you drink that and you say that you're drinking green tea, no, you're not. You're drinking crumbs. And you don't even know if those are crumbs from green tea or crumbs from something else. You don't even know what they are because they just toss it all. It's like a hot dog. Calling a hot dog what?
Meat.
Yeah, meat. That's what calling tea bags tea is, We gotta finish this class so I can go get that ice water and the ice water's in the car. Now we're gonna finish this chapter, huh?
I thought you were gonna say ice cream.
No. I got like the ice water in the car. All right, to summarize this section, you have to find foods that are highly nutritious, and you should manage how you eat. And there's one thing that I did not mention here, which I wish I did mention. I don't think I mentioned. No, I didn't mention it. Is to eat foods while they are in season. You eat foods that are on the tree at that time. You don't eat watermelon in the wintertime. You don't eat oranges in the summertime. And you don't eat mangoes in the wintertime. You eat mangoes in the springtime. You eat oranges in the wintertime. You eat watermelon in the summertime. You eat everything when it is what? When it's in season and it's fresh. Because all these foods that are out of season, they take them and they freeze them in freezers, and then they come out and they defrost them and they sell them to you way out of season. It's like, and one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put these foods here for a purpose, to serve a purpose. Like you see, one of the biggest issues amongst people during the springtime, allergies and the flu. Because what happens is during the cold winters, especially in places that are colder, you start to consume a lot of heavy foods. Why? Because you're trying to deal with what? You're trying to deal with the cold, right? So you eat more fatty foods, and you see that your body doesn't get poisoned a lot, right? But guess what? Now the body, because of the cold air and also because of your lack of movement, the body starts to store all that fat up. And then when does it start to release that?
Spring.
In the spring. So when it starts to heat up, and then you start to change your diet and you start to eat the fruits that are coming in, now your body starts to push all those poisons out. And this is what the people refer to as the flu. The flu is just a natural process of your body expelling the poisons from it. So, one of the biggest things, one of the biggest fruits that helps out with this time of year is the mango. So right when you hit, like, for example, springtime, you start eating mangoes. And that helps with the cleansing of the body and the purifying of the body. Also, you notice that the honey, like the bees now, they're going around, and what are they doing?
The honey?
No, they're pollinating all the trees.
All the bees.
So you see, like outside of Fresno, you see they start to set up all those beehives all throughout all the fields, like all all the different fruits, the fruit orchids, right? So they set up those the bees so that they can go and they pollinate all the trees. And they produce all that fresh honey. So you get the orange blossom honey, and you get all these different types of honey because they're eating from the flowers of these trees at this time. So you go and you get that type of honey in the spring, whatever honey is local to that area, because that has all the nutrition that you need in that honey. So like you see, like a lot of people, they're buying all this like honey from Germany and honey from Yemen. If you don't live in that area, you don't need that honey. It's not beneficial for you because it's not going to prepare your body to take on the pollen and everything that you're breathing in that area. So you go in the beginning of spring, you get, mangoes, you get some fresh honey from that area, and that's what you eat. And that's how you clean out your body. And that helps with the cleansing process to get, and then also you can find other herbs depending on what you're suffering from at the time. How you ate during the springtime, summertime, because not summertime, the wintertime. Because some people, they might eat like a lot of ice cream, a lot of cheese, and a lot of meat. So they're going to get very sick when it comes time to, once their body starts to clean out, So, and the same thing when the springtime comes in, now because your body's dehydrated, your kidneys start to overwork. So what do you want to work? What do you want to eat now?
Ice cream?
No.
Oh,
Your kidneys are going to get damaged. You keep eating ice cream, especially in the summertime. You want to eat watermelon. Watermelon, it cleans out the kidneys and strengthens the kidneys. And that's what you need at this time because you're constantly dehydrated. You can't drink enough water right now, to stay hydrated most of the time. To like really just be like, man, I'm finally comfortable, But, so you got to, just eat, look at the foods that benefit you at that time. And also, like in this time, you should be eating foods that what? Cool your body down and not heat your body up. So like you see like these types of foods like meat, all these acidic foods, what do? They produce heat in the body. You don't need to produce heat in your body because you're already living in heat. So you want to look at foods like bananas, limes, lemons, and things like this. These are cooling the body. Apple cider vinegar also cools the body down. These are the foods that you want to be trying to eat, because like you see like all the sweating that you see right now, that's because of excess heat in the body because of the foods that we eat. So you want to eat foods that like cool you down and balance you out and not, take you to the extreme. So eat foods in season. That's another thing. All right, so to summarize the section, you have to find foods that are highly nutritious, and you should manage how much you eat. You should never eat to the point of becoming full. If you are full, you cannot focus. If you are full, you cannot memorize. Every once in a while, go out and eat some junk food, but do not allow eating junk food to become the norm. The best advice that I found was in a hadith that we all know, and even though there is some doubt about its authenticity, it still contains good advice. The hadith is the following: عن مقدام ابن معد كرب رضي الله عنه قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول ما ملأ آدمي وياعا شرا من بطن بحسب ابن آدم أقولات يقمن صلبه فإن كان لا محالة فثلث لطعامه وثلث لشرابه وثلث لنفسه. So here لنفسه مش لنفسه. Alright, so Miqdam ibn Ma'di Karab said he heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say that the Adami, which is a human, has never filled up any container that's worse for him to fill than a stomach. And it's enough for the son of Adam, just enough food to keep his back, to keep him straight, to keep his back upright. Just enough strength that he can hold his back upright. Because obviously, if you get real hungry and weak, what happens? You start to like bend over from weakness. So just to eat enough food that you're able to hold your body upright. فَإِنْ كَانَ لَا مَحَالَةً. So if it's like absolutely, it's like you have no other choice, but you're going to eat more than that, what he just advised. Then he said, then you should only eat 1/3 for food, 1/3 for drink, and 1/3 for breathing. You should at least keep that because the breathing the beneficial breathing, because you have the breathing from the lungs, right? But that's not the deep breathing, right? Where's the deep breathing from?
the stomach?
Yeah, because you breathe all the way down through your diaphragm. So how can you do that if your stomach it's going to start, if it's full, it's going to put pressure on your breathing, and you can't even do any type of deep breathing. That's why if you eat a lot of food and go out and sprint, what's going to happen to you?
Throw up.
Yeah, you're going to be breathing hard, like this, because there's too much pressure on that part of the breathing, on the diaphragm. So, yeah, you can't, there's no type of deep breathing. So if you at least leave 1/3 for breath, that you can at least do like standard breathing. You can, breathe comfortably. But I mean, even at that point, if you fill up 2/3 of your stomach, you're still going to have difficulties with deeper breathing. You're still not going to run out and sprint right afterwards. All right. So any questions about that? Nope. إلهنا سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.